I look back upon a childhood consumed by war. I could recognize the sounds of war at the age of 4, when the spillover from the Vietnam conflict forced my family from the home my parents had spent their life savings to build in the affluent Takao province in southern Cambodia. By the age of 10, I was forced to work in child labor camps among thousands of children separated from parents and siblings by a system of social slavery instituted by the Khmer Rouge in their bizarre quest to create a utopian society. Family ties were suddenly a thing of suspicion. Control was everything. Social ties, even casual conversations, were a threat. Ang Ka, the organization, suddenly became your mother, your father, your God. But Ang Ka was a tyrannical master. To question anything, whom you could greet, whom you could marry, what words you could use to address relatives, what work you did, meant that you were an enemy to your new parent. That was Ang Ka's rule. To disobey meant the Kang Pravat Tasa, the wheel of history, would run over you. That's what they told us as we cast our eyes downward under the weight of their threats. The wheel of time or change. The Khmer Rouge often used such terms to threaten us, to force us to follow their rules, their revolution. If we didn't follow their rules, the wheel of history would run over us. This could mean punishment or death. Unlike so many of the children I worked with in muddy rice fields and irrigation canals, unlike many in my own family, I outran the wheel of history. I survived starvation, disease, forced labor, and refugee camps. I survived a world of violence and despair. I survived. Since 1981, my new home has been mostly in Oregon, as verdant as the land I left, but different. The coconut and papaya groves, the mango trees that grew in front of my childhood home, have been replaced by mountains dense with pine and fir, timber-flanked valleys, and cold, clear streams. From dramatic coastal cliffs to lacy spigots of waterfalls that feed the Columbia River Gorge, the sights, scenes, and sounds of this place have become my image of America. Now, strangely, it has also become the landscape of my nightmares. In Cambodia, the term for childbirth is Chalong Tonle. Literally translated, it means to cross a large river, to weather the storm. Looking back, I have crossed the river on my own without my mother. I have started a new life in a new country. I have learned a new language and lived in a new culture. I have been reincarnated with a new body, but with an old soul. It lives symbiotically inside me. In many ways, I occupy a world of blurred boundaries. Since the fall of 1989, I have been involved as a researcher on the Khmer Adolescent Project, a federally funded study of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, among 240 Cambodian youths who endured 4 years of war in Cambodia. The need for this research was initially prompted by the observations made by Dan Dickinson, an ESL, English as a second language, teacher at Cleveland High School in Portland, Oregon. In the early 1980s, Cleveland High School had experienced an influx of young immigrant Cambodians. In these students, Dickinson saw something unfamiliar. Once, on a trip to a high school teacher's home, a young Cambodian girl was digging in the ground and unearthed a bone. She began to unravel, screaming and running about. Slowly, other Cambodian students began to share their stories. One shared stories about cannibalism. Another described how the Khmer Rouge had cut people open to eat their livers. At the time, little was known about the horrors of Cambodia. Dickinson himself was in denial until he